done the sound chapter in the last two sessions. So today is the last session of the chapter sound. So before going to our topic, let us first find out what Swiflearn is. As you already know that what is Swiflearn. So Swiflearn is the India's most sincere learning destination for classes 3 to 10. So what we give here, all the classes over here are live and interactive classes. So the teacher explain all the topics and the student can clear each and every doubt if they have any, right? Secondly, we give the personalized attention to each and every students in our batches, because our batches maximum consists of 6 students, not more than that. Thirdly, we have a very good dedicated academic mentor team who continuously track on the progress of the students. So how they are doing in the class, how they are performing in the homework, everything is tracked by our academic mentor team. And the most important thing is we cover all the syllabus as per your school examination schedule, and also we handle your custom request. So these are our general features of SwiftLearn, and let us move on to the key features now. Hi Arpan. Hi beta. Okay, I hope you are doing great, right? Yes. Chalo. So what are our key features? We maintain a detailed progress report of all the students. Over here we give the different test which we call as the SATs, that is the Swiflearn academic test series, where you will be able to perform and you will be able to find yourself where you are standing. Thirdly, you can take unlimited practice test after completing of each of the topic, and from there you will be able to understand where you are lagging, in which topic you need to improve more, and accordingly you will be able to prepare yourself for the examination. And fourthly, there are the subjective tests also for your school exams. So you can write down the answers, and we have a lot of teachers who will check your answer and give you the tip how to write all the subjective answers according to the marks, and you will be able to score better. Right? So these are our key features. So to experience all these things, please book a free trial class. That all the trial classes are completely free. Okay, so book a free trial class and experience all these features of SwiftLearn. So now what you have to do, please subscribe our channel on YouTube and press on the bell icon so that you will be updated with all the upcoming classes. Right? So do like, comment, and share it with all your friends and family members as well as your relatives, and be with us. Okay? Chalo. So, hi. Okay, hi Arpan. Okay, so let's move on to today's topic, right? As I have already said that we have completed the two sessions of sound, which this is a topic of CBSE class 8, where we have already done about the different characteristic features of the sound. So in the previous session, we have already discussed that sound always travels in the form of the wave. Sound always travel with the help of any medium, right? Either it can be the solid or liquid or gas. They need a medium for their traveling. Okay, and sound is produced by the vibration of different particles. So these are the different features which we have already discussed in the previous sessions, right? And also we discussed that how sound is produced. Now let us see what we will study today. So in today's session, we will discuss about human ear. So how we can hear the sound. Okay, that is related to the different parts of the human ear. So we will discuss this one in detail. Then we will move on to the different terms which are related to the sound. Okay. Thirdly, we will discuss about the audible and inaudible sound. So whatever sounds are produced around us, all of them we cannot hear, right? So there are certain sound which are audible, which we can hear. Okay, and there are certain sounds which we cannot hear, but those are also the sounds. So we will see the distinguish or the differences between them, right? Then we will go on to the different types of sounds which are called sometimes as the noise, which we do not like, and some of them are musical sound, which are very pleasant, right? So we will also go in details about the noise and the musical sound, and finally we will study about the noise pollution, right? You have already heard about the different types of pollutions: air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, है ना? So today in this session we will study about the noise pollution in detail. Okay, so what are the different causes of the noise pollution and what can be the different effects of noise pollution? This we will discuss in today's session. So let's move on to the first topic of today, right? So all of you are ready? Yes? Okay. Chalo. So let's start. So you think and tell me, when we speak, the sound waves travel through the medium, right? We have already studied about the different types of medium in the previous session through which the sound travels. But how can we hear the sound? Yes. Anybody, can you tell me in the chat box? Yes, Arpan, will you be able to say? Yes. We have already studied in detail in the previous session that how sound is produced, right? It is produced with the help of the vibration, right? So, after production of the sound is traveling through the air or water or solid. है ना? So, when it is traveling in the form of the wave, we also need to hear it. So, how can we hear the sound? Yes. If we cannot hear the sound, we will not be able to communicate with anybody. है ना? So, how can we hear the sound? Yes. Exactly, with the help of our ears. So we have the ear, that is the sense organ which help us to hear the sound, right? As you already know that the eye help us to see everything, nose help us to smell everything, right? Tongue help us to test the different things and also in the talking, right? So similarly the ear is also another sense organ which help us to hear the sound, right? Now can you tell me how our ear works actually? Yes. Anybody, can you tell me what are the different parts which are present in the ear? You can refer to this picture over here also. And can you tell me how we can hear any sound? Through which pathway the sound waves are traveling within the ear? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So the first external part of the ear is the pinna, which is visible from outside, right? So when there is any sound produced around us, first the sound wave travels through the pinna. It enters inside our ear through the pinna, right? So if I divide our ear into three main parts, the external, middle, and the internal part. Okay, we can divide the ear into three different parts. So the pinna and this canal, this tube-like canal, can you see through which the sound is traveling? And this green colored membrane like structure, okay, up to this much will be considered as the external part, right? External ear. Now just after it we can consider this small part where mainly the three bones are present: malleus, incus and stapes. This is the middle part. Okay, this is the middle part of the ear. This is the external part, and just inside it is we can also say this as the internal ear. Okay, so there are the different fluids which are present, all the different parts of the internal ears are present, as well as the auditory canal, right? So these are all present within the internal ear, right? So the sound starts traveling, or the sound wave starts traveling through the pinna. So it enters inside our ear through the pinna, and after going inside it, it strikes on the eardrum. So this membrane like structure is known as the eardrum. Okay, so what we have already studied in the previous session, just think of it that when there is a sound produced, so the vibration is actually happening within the different particles, and due to the vibration on the membrane also vibrates and it helps in propagating the sound wave, right? So the sound wave enters from the pinna and travels down the canal, and then it strikes on the membrane, that is the membrane which is called the eardrum. Okay, so just think about one example, like when we uh, like play the drum or tabla. So what is actually present on the surface? It is the stretched membrane, right? Yes, the skin, or we can also call it as the membrane. So the similar type of membrane is also present at the end of our external ear, right? And we call that membrane as the eardrum. So whenever there is a sound produced, so what happens? The vibration is created on the membrane. The same thing will happen over here also. So there will be some vibration in the eardrum, right? Exactly. And when there is the vibration in the eardrum, it will vibrate and propagate the sound inside the ear, okay, in the internal ear. Fine. So this is how the sound enters inside our ear. And now inside the ear, what is present in the internal portion? Yes, in the internal portion, there is the auditory nerve. Very good. Okay, so the auditory nerve will send the message or the sound wave towards the brain. Right? Now let us focus on a demonstration how the eardrum vibrates. Okay, due to the production of the sound. So you can do this type of activity at home. So for this, for performing this activity, you have to take a tin can, okay, and cut both of its ends. Fine. Now wrap one of the rubber balloon in one of the end and put some of the grains on it. Okay, 4 or 5 grains on it. Now tell your friend or brother or sister, or you can also do that, to speak something from the other end. Can you see over here the picture? Yes. So the human being is speaking over here, right? And this is the membrane. Okay. So when somebody is speaking, what is happening over here on the grain? It's jumping, है ना? Yes. So why is it jumping? Because when she is speaking something, the sound wave is going through the can and it is creating some vibration on the membrane, right? And due to the creation of this vibration, whatever grains are present on the membrane, it starts jumping, right? So from here the same thing happen in case of our eardrum also. So whenever there is any sort of sound around us, so it enters through the pinna and go to the eardrum, which is a stretched membrane, and the vibration is created over there, okay, and accordingly it vibrates and send the sound wave into the internal ear. Okay. Yes. Now let's see what are the different things which are present in the internal ear. So as I have already said you that the ear can be divided into three main parts. That this outermost part is the external ear, then a very little part is the middle ear having only the very small bones within the ears, and the third part is the internal ear, right? So the sound starts traveling through the pinna, then it enters through this auditory canal, then it is moving through the, due to the vibration of this eardrum, whatever bones are present or attached with the eardrum, this will also vibrate, and then it will enter into the internal ear, right? Now what are actually present within the internal ear? It is the semicircular canal, the vestibular nerve, the auditory nerve, the facial nerve, we can see the cochlea, and the eustachian tubule. Okay, so all these parts you will study in detail when you will go to the higher classes. Right? So now we will only consider through which the sound is going towards our brain. So through which part the sound is going through towards our brain? with the help of this auditory nerve, right? So this auditory nerve sends the sound towards our brain, and our brain will process the sound, what type of sound is produced, who is said something, who is calling anybody, and we will be able to understand, yes, mama is calling, yes, my friend wants to play with me, yes, this is a very nice, beautiful, pleasant violin playing over there, right? So we will be able to understand all these different types of sounds when it will be processed in our brain, right? So from here, let me conclude the whole thing through which the sound enters in our ear. It enters through the pinna, it goes through the auditory canal, then it strikes on the eardrum. Okay, then through the eardrum, it goes to the middle ear, and then the internal ear, and finally it moves through the auditory nerve and it goes to the brain, right? Okay, and this is how we will be able to hear the sound. Okay, so is it clear about what is hearing and how we can hear any sound? Yes, how the vibration of the sound produced and how it is entering in our ears and going to the brain so that we can hear something. Yes, is it clear to all of you? Very good. So we must never put any sort of sharp or pointed object inside our ear because it can damage the eardrum. So we should put, if you want to clear your ears, you can use some earbud, not more than that. Okay, we should not put any sort of sharp object inside our ears. Be very careful about it. ठीक है? Up to this much clear? Chalo. So now let's move on to the different characteristic features of the sound. Yeah. So we hear the different types of sound uh, around us, right? So some of them are very loud sound, some of them are very feeble sound, some of them are of the deep voice or a flat voice, or some of them are very shrill, right? Yes. So these are the different types of things like the loudness or the pitch of the sound we have already discussed over there in the previous session, that these are the different types of sounds which we can hear, and they depend upon the different properties of the sound. So what are these properties? Yes, we have already studied about them, है ना? They are the amplitude and the frequency, right? So the loudness of the sound depends upon the amplitude of the sound, fine, and the shrillness of the sound depends upon the frequency. Clear hai? Now let us move on to this amplitude and the frequency in detail. Chalo. So can you see over here what is happening? If you ring the bell, what will happen? Inside the bell there is a bob like thing, right? And it starts oscillating, right? Exactly. So some oscillation is happening over here. It is the thread and this one is the bob, and continuous oscillation is happening over here. It is similar to what we have already studied with the vibration. We have already studied about the graph of the sound waves, right? Over there we saw the vibration. Exactly. Now how will you be able to define the frequency? Yes. What is the frequency actually? It is the number of vibration per second, right? So if the number of vibration is very high, then we can say that is a high pitch sound, right? So the frequency will be also high. And if the number of vibration per second is very less, then we can say that the frequency of the sound is very less. The similar thing happen with in case of this oscillation also. So when the number of oscillation per second is more, then the frequency will be more. And if the number of oscillation is less, the frequency will be also less, right? So the number of oscillation or the vibration per second is called the frequency of the oscillation. Okay, now how can I say that one oscillation is completed? What do you mean by only one oscillation? Just think about when the bob is coming to this position, this extreme, mark it as point A. right? And when it is moving over here in this extreme, mark it as point B and take a mean position of the bob, which is O. Fine. So when the bob is going from O, it is starting and going to A, then it is again moving back to B and again coming back to O and stops, then we will be able to say that one oscillation has been completed. Clear hai? Okay, so have you got what is oscillation and the number of oscillation per second is creating the frequency of oscillation? Up to this much clear, everyone? Okay, very good. Now, what is the unit for the frequency? What is the unit to measure the frequency? It is expressed in hertz. Fine? Yes, very good. Now, let us move on to the next property of the sound, that is amplitude. Okay, so we have already studied this type of graph, that this, let it be the mean position. Okay, and when the sound wave is traveling, there is a distance between the mean position and the extreme end of the sound wave, right? Yes. So the maximum distance of a particular wave from its mean position, we have already studied this, right, is known as the amplitude. Fine. So this is the amplitude. If it is more, then we can say the sound will be more. Okay. And if the distance between the mean position and the sound wave, extreme end of the sound wave, is less, like this one, then we can say that the sound is a feeble or a low loud sound, right? So it is not that much loud, right? Exactly. So the maximum displacement of the bob in case of this oscillation, so if I think about, like, this is the mean position, let me take a mean position. Okay, so this is the mean position. So what will be the distance between the mean position and the max bob, extreme end of the bob? We can say that this one is the distance between them. Okay, so this maximum displacement of the bob from its mean position on either side, it can be over here also, or we can also say over here. The same distance is traveled over here also. This is known as the amplitude of the pendulum. Clear, right? Up to this much clear? Okay, so this actually determines the loudness of the sound. So what determines the loudness? The amplitude, right? Clear? So what we have studied till now, the two properties of the sound. One is the frequency of the sound, that is the number of vibration per second, and second one is the amplitude, which is the maximum displacement of the bob or the wave from its mean position. Clear hai? Up to this much clear? Yes. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the chat box. Okay. So these are the main properties of the loudness and the pitch of the sound. So the amplitude and the frequency give the information about how the sound wave is, or the different characteristic feature of the sound. It determines the loudness of the sound as well as the pitch of the sound, right? So the loudness depend on the amplitude, that help us to distinguish any sort of sound which is very loud or a very less feeble sound, right? Exactly. And when the amplitude of the vibration is large, we can hear that the sound is very loud. And if the amplitude is very small, means the distance between the mean position and the extreme end of the wave is very small, we can say that the sound is very feeble sound, right? Yes. Okay. Now you have to keep it in mind that loudness is always proportional to the amplitude square. Yes? Okay. Now, as you already know that the unit of frequency is measured by hertz. So similarly, the unit of the loudness is measured by decibel. Fine. So we already hear about this, na? Like it is not allowed to produce any sound which will be more than 80 decibel or more than 100 decibel at night, right? Mainly during the Diwali time, है ना? Exactly. So we can determine the loudness of the sound with the help of the unit, that is decibel. Fine. Okay, so let us now find out what are the different sounds which we can hear every day, or which are very faint or very light, which generally we don't do not give the mm, give some importance to it, like the normal breathing, right? It is only 10 decibel in sound, so it is very means sometimes we can avoid it, we cannot hear it at all clearly, right? Or a soft whisper, it can be like 30 decibel, which can travel till 5 meter, right? Next, a normal conversation, like I'm talking now, yeah. So this sound can be like 60 decibel. Yes, or a busy traffic road with all the horns and all of the vehicles. So it can be the 70 decibel sound. Or if we think about the different machines which are continuously working in the factory, the average sound of that is 80 decibel sound, right? So these are the different sounds which are produced around us. So this is the table showing you the loudness of the different types of sound from which are coming from the different sources. Clear hai? Okay, got an idea how we can measure the loudness of the sound? Yes. Okay, now think about another situation. If two-person, one is a baby and another one is um, an adult man. Okay, so both of them are crying. Okay, and the sound which are produced by both of them are equal, are having the equal loudness. Then how will you be able to understand, or how will you be able to distinguish that this is the cry of a baby and another one is the cry of a man? How will you be able to distinguish this? Yes, always remember that the loudness is same. Okay, over here they are crying at the same loudness. Okay, so how will you be able to understand which one is a cry of a baby and which one is a cry of a man? Anybody in the chat box? Yes. Yes, let me see who can give me the correct answer first. Exactly, so we will that time have to hear the pitch of the sound, right? Or the shrillness of the sound. Okay, so how can we determine the shrillness or the pitch of the sound? How it is determined? By the frequency, right? Exactly. So the frequency determines the shrillness of the sound or the pitch of the sound. So which sound is very in high pitch or which sound is very at the very low pitch, right? So if the frequency of the vibration is very high, means if the number of vibration per second is very high, then we can say that that sound is having a high pitch, right? And if the number of vibration per second is very less, then we can say that the pitch is very low. Clear hai? Now think about these two types of things. One is a drum, yeah. So when you will strike the drum, it will give you a sound which can be of the equal loudness of that of this whistle, but its pitch is lower, right? And with the same loudness, if you blow the whistle, then will you be able to understand that is the whistle? Why? Because the pitch is different, right? It is having its high pitch. Clear eh? Yes. Okay, now as we know that the sound is produced by the vibrating of the objects, so can we hear all the different sounds or all the different vibrating bodies around us? Yes? No. Right? Some of them are audible. Whatever sounds are within the audible frequency or within the audible range, we will be able to hear those sound. And whatever sounds are above that audible range or below the audible range, we will not be able to hear those vibration. Clear hai? So we can say that the sound can be divided into two main types. One is the audible sound, which we can hear, and another one is the inaudible sound, which we cannot hear. Right? So for human ear, the range of the audible frequency varies from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Fine. But if any sound is produced around us is less than 20 hertz, or it can be more than 20,000 hertz, then that type of sounds we will not be able to hear. And those sound is known as the inaudible sound. Fine. Can you tell me some example of the inaudible sound? Audible sound, though you already know that I am speaking, I'm producing some sound which is audible. You can hear me. है ना? Or the horns of the vehicles, we can say the flute, piano, the sound of the bell, right? Or we can say the pressure cooker, whistle of the pressure cooker. These are all audible sound. We can hear them properly. Can you give some example of the inaudible sound which we cannot hear but the sound are produced? Yes, anybody in the chat box? Let me see who can give me the answer. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Arpan, will you be able to say? Okay, so there are certain sounds which we call as the ultrasonic sound or infrasonic sound, right? The ultrasonic sounds are more than 20,000 hertz. Okay, so these are used for the USG, okay, ultrasound for determining the different defects in our body parts. Have you heard of it? Ultrasonography? Yes, the ultrasound is used over there. And the infrasounds and also ultrasound can be the whistle of the dog which we cannot hear properly, or sometimes the bat produce certain types of sounds which are for their communication but we cannot hear them. Okay, so those are more than 20,000 hertz and that is why we cannot hear them properly. Okay, so these are all the different ultrasonic sounds, okay, or ultrasounds. Fine. And there are also certain infrasonic sounds which are very low than the 20 hertz, which are produced by the other different types of animals. We can say they are produced by the hippopotamus, they are produced by the whales, okay, under the water, they are produced by elephant sometime. Okay, we cannot hear those sound because they are very low, okay, lower than our audible range. Fine. So have you got an idea what are the different sounds we can hear and what are the different sounds we cannot hear? Yes. So our audible range is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Okay. So this is the average range of hearing for a normal human being, right? So less than 20 hertz or more than 20,000 hertz, if the sound is produced, we will not be able to hear, but they are produced in our surrounding. Okay, so this is the range which is known as the audible range. Clear? Eh? Up to this much, any doubt you can ask me? Yes. Okay. Hi, Mamta. Okay, chalo. So the sounds we hear in this range are always pleasing or sometimes it is annoying too. Yes. Who will tell me this answer? Let me see over here in the chat box. So I have already mentioned about the different types of sounds which are produced and which we can hear, which we cannot hear. So now think about the sound which we can hear. So all of them are pleasing sound or some of them are like annoying, very irritating also. Yes? Okay. So some of the sounds are pleasing, but some of the sounds are irritating or annoying, right? So the pleasing sounds, we call them as the pleasant sounds, generally, which are the musical sound. Or think about the conversation when you communicate with your friends, right? Or you hear some music or the chirping of the birds, right? So these are, or a flute, or you can hear the piano, right? So these are the different sounds which are pleasant to our ears and we love to hear it, right? So this type of sounds are known as the pleasant sound. And what are the different unpleasant sound? The sounds which are generally not having any regularity or a periodicity, right? And do not maintain a proper rhythm and very much annoying and very much like distracting, irritating, है ना? So what are those? Barking of the dog, right? If they start barking, and mainly, especially at the night time when you are going to bed, if the dog starts barking, so it's very annoying, very irritating, है ना? Exactly. Or the different sounds which are produced by the different machines, right? Or the sounds which are produced by the different vehicles. Hi, Dash. Hi, Daksh. How are you? Okay, so these are the different unpleasant sound. We do not like them, right? So do you know what are these pleasant sound and unpleasant sound called? They have this specific name. Let me see who can tell me the specific name of the pleasant and the unpleasant sound. Yes. Okay, the pleasant sounds are also known as the musical sounds. Okay, they are having a proper regularity or a periodicity or a proper rhythm, we can say. Okay, so these musical sounds are always pleasing to our ear and we love to hear them. Right, so these are the musical sounds. So the sound produced by the harmonium, we can say the sitar, guitar, piano, violin, okay, or the drums, or the flute, or shehnai. So these are all the different pleasant sound or the musical sound, which we love to hear. Right, but there are also the different sounds which are unpleasant. We do not like it, like the horns or the barking of the dog or the different machines, the sound produced by the different machines, or we can say the uh, crackers during the Diwali, है ना? So these are the unpleasant sound. So these unpleasant sounds are known as the noise. Okay, so I guess you have already heard about the noise pollution, right? So, what are the noise pollution? When this unpleasant, unwanted, excessive, without any periodicity, that type of sound is produced in our environment continuously, that creates a noise pollution. Right? So, the presence of excessive, unwanted sound in the environment helps to create the noise pollution or causes the noise pollution. Now, let's move on to the different sources of noise pollution. Can you tell me some of the name of the sources of noise pollution? Hi Mantra, good afternoon beta. How are you? Okay. Okay, can you tell me some of the sources of the noise pollution? Yes. Okay, so we can say the explosion of the cracker. Yeah. Okay. Then the continuous horn from the vehicles, right? Bursting of the cracker, the continuous machine. Maybe it can be the washing machine or any sort of machine in the factories. Or you can think about the loudspeaker, which are generally very good mantra. Yes, the vehicles and the machines. Very good, very good. Yes. Then the loudspeaker, which are generally played during any sort of occasion or puja or party, right? We love party, but we should not like play the very loud music, है ना? So it can be disturbing to others, right? Exactly. Then loudspeaker, very good mantra. Yes, explosion of the crackers. Then the television or the transistor radio, which if you play them at a very high volume, right? So never try to do that, because it can cause a lot of effect in the surrounding, all the people who are present in the surrounding, as well as to you also, right? So always try to keep a proper level of the sound, or a proper loudness of the sound. Like for the television, make the sound or the volume up to that much, which will be within a room only. Okay, you will be able to hear from a room, not more than that, right? So these are the different sources which causes the noise pollution, right? Now can you tell me, what are the effects of noise pollution, or what are the different health issues or the health related problems which are caused due to the excessive noise or the loud sound all the time around you? Yes, it can create the lack of sleep. Yes, you will not be able to sleep properly at night, Hannah. It can create hypertension. It can create the temporary or a permanent damage of the eardrum, okay, or impairment of the hearing if you hear any sort of sound for a long period of time, right? And also it can cause the different types of heart related diseases. Okay, so these are the different health issues which can happen due to the noise pollution. Clear? Eh? Up to this much, any question? You can ask me in the chat box. Yes, Mantra has written, we are disturbed and it can create loss of, yes, loss of hearing or of our ears, and it can create stress. Very good. Yes, Mantra, exactly. Okay, chalo. So these are the things. So what we can do from ourselves, or what are the different measures which we can take from our side to limit this noise pollution? It is very important to take some measure, right? So that the noise pollution will be less. है ना? So we can use some silencing devices. Okay, some silencer. You have heard about the silencer which are used in the vehicles. है ना? They reduce the sound which are produced from the engines, right? Then the industrial machines silencer can be used, or in case of any sort of home appliances, any sort of machines which can create a lot of sound, right? Exactly. We can use the automobile horn only whenever it is needed. We can minimize the use of the horn unnecessarily, है ना? So it will create less noise pollution. Then think about the TV and the music system, which should run at a very low volume, or a low volume which you will be able to enjoy only, and it will not create any disturbance to the people around you, right? So we should keep the limit of the volume of the different musical instruments which can be played in our house, right? Even in case of the different occasions, so always keep it in mind, right? And the next things which we can do is, we can plant the different trees in the roadside, so that we already know that the plants absorb the sound energy, right? So that will reduce the harmful effect of the noise pollution. Clear hai? Okay. Yes, Mantra, we use the CNG gas, it does not create noise and air pollution. Yes, yes, Mantra, very good. Exactly. Okay. Chalo. So these are the different measures which we can take. Now let's recall whatever we have studied in today's session. Right? I hope you have already understood what we have already discussed in today's session about sound. Right? Yes? Chalo. So let's see what we have already discussed. We discussed about the human ear. So in the human ear, the sound waves are sensed by the eardrum. Okay, and it sends the signal towards the brain with the help of what? Auditory nerve, right? Very good. And this process is called the hearing. Okay. Secondly, the amplitude and the frequency give the information about the different characteristic feature of the sound. So amplitude determines the loudness of the sound, and frequency determines the pitch of the sound. Right? Clear hai? Okay. Then we studied about the audible range of the sound, right, which we can hear. So the audible frequency for the normal human being is 20 to 20,000 hertz. Above 20,000 hertz, we cannot hear the proper sound, or below 20 hertz, we cannot hear that sound. And also, we have studied about the unpleasant sounds, which are known as the noise. Okay, and the pleasant sounds can be also called the musical sound, right? Exactly. And finally, we have studied about the excessive or unwanted sound leads to the noise pollution. So we have already studied about the different causes of the noise pollution and what are the different health issues which can happen due to the noise pollution, right? Okay. Hi, yes, Mantra. What is the class of your daily class? Means it actually varies. You can subscribe our channel. Please subscribe our channel and press on the bell icon. Then you will get updated with all the future classes. Okay, you will be able to attend my classes then. Okay. Okay. Chalo. So these are the different things which we have already discussed today. So we have also discussed about the different keywords which are related to the sound. So what are the keywords? First is the hearing. That means how we can hear the sound. So the eardrum sends the vibration to the inner ear, and from the inner ear the sound waves go to the brain through the auditory nerve, and that process is known as hearing, right? Then we have also studied about the audible range, that is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, which we can hear. Then we studied about the inaudible range, that is below 20 hertz we cannot hear the sound, or when the sound is more than 20,000 hertz we cannot hear the sound, right? And we have studied about the musical sound and noise pollution, right? What is the musical sound? The sound which are pleasing to the ear, which we love to hear, right? Which are very much pleasing. So those are known as the musical sound. Think about the different playing of the different instruments, right? Exactly. So think about the flute, or think about the shani, or violin, or piano. So these are the different types of musical sound we can hear, right? Exactly. And next is the noise pollution. That means the presence of excessive noise or unwanted sound in our surrounding creates the noise pollution. Yes? Okay. So I think you have already got an idea about all these different terms, right? Yes? Now let us quickly play a puzzle. Let me see who can find out 8 hidden words from this box. Let me see. Yes, Mantra. Try it. Yes, Mantra, I have understood you are talking about the time. So it can be like 2 to 3 p.m., 3 to 4 p.m., like this. And I would like to tell you, please subscribe our channel in YouTube so that you will be updated with all the classes, my classes, as well as all the different classes of Swiflearn. Okay, for all the different topics. Okay. So let me see who can give me the answer first over here. Yes. Can you find out the different words? Oh, one I have found, that is feeble. Yes. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. I have found the second one, which is eardrum. We have heard about the eardrum, that is the stretched membrane in our ear, Hannah. Yes. Yes, very good, Mantra. Yes, audible. Very good. You have found audible. Okay. Then you have found another one. I can hear. I can see. Feeble. Okay. Then shrill. Yes, you have found shrill. Okay. Yes. Anything else you can see over here? Hearing. Have you found the word hearing? Yes. Yes. Anything else you can find? We have found the 5 words. More are there. 3 more are there. Yes. Exactly. I have found another one, that is pinna. Yes, the external visible part of the ear, है ना? Yes, that is called the pinna. Yes, hearing. Exactly. Then, then two more. Yes, it's the loud. Okay, it's the loud. Okay, and one more. Let me see who can find it first, you or me? Yes, yes. Okay, so that is the canal, Hannah. Exactly. Yes, loud. Very good. So I've got the 8 words. Let us check now. We have found the words correctly or not? Yes, exactly. You have found all the words correctly. Hai na? Exactly. So the feeble, shrillness, the hearing, eardrum, pinna, canal, loud, and audible. These were the 8 hidden words in this puzzle. Okay, chalo. So let us now discuss some of the question answer. Okay, so I hope you have already understood whatever we have done in today's session, right? So let me find out you have understood it correctly or not. Yeah. So for my first question is define loudness. Let me see who will be able to give me the answer correctly first. Yes, Mantra, will you be able to try? Defined loudness. Yes. Can you define loudness? Anybody else also? Please try and write it down in the chat box. Yes, yes. Let me see who can give me the correct answer. Okay. So, what is the loudness? The loudness is the characteristic of the sound that depends upon the amplitude, right? So, the loudness is always proportional to the amplitude square. We have already studied this, right? So, you have to write down this equation also. Clear, eh? Okay, now let's move on to the second question. Define audible range for human. What is the audible range for human? Yes, very good, Mantra. It is the subjective perception of the sound pressure. Okay, yes. So it is mainly determined by the amplitude, right? Yes. So what is the audible range for the human? Yes, yes. It is from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Okay, this is the audible range, right? Now let's move on to the third question. So the third question asks you indicate the eardrum in the given picture. How will you be able to indicate? Yes, Mantra, you have written 20 kilohertz. Very good. It will be 20 hertz to 50 hertz. Okay, 20 kilohertz. Yeah. Yes, Kaustav. Exactly. Very good. Okay, so which one is the eardrum? You can just tell me the color of the eardrum over here, which is shown in this picture. Yes. Which one is the eardrum? Yeah. Just tell me the color over here. Pink or blue or green or brown. Yes. Pinkish. No. Mantra, just look into the picture and tell me properly. Yes, very good, Kostav. It is the green color. This part is the eardrum, right? Very good. Exactly. Okay. So this part, you can see the circle over here. It is the eardrum, right? So let it be up to this much. Okay. Let us find out what we have studied today. Okay. Exactly. Green. Very good mantra. Okay. So we have already learned about the human ear or the different parts of the ear, right? Then we have studied about the different terms which are related to the sound, right? Then we have studied about the audible and the inaudible sound which we can hear and which we cannot hear, right? Then we have studied about the noise, which is irritating or annoying sound, and the pleasant sound, which are the musical sounds, right? And finally, we discussed about the noise pollution, right? So what are the different causes of noise pollution, what are the effects on our body due to the huge noise pollution, and what are the preventive measures which we can take to reduce this noise pollution. So all this we have already discussed in today's session, right? So if you have any doubt, any question, you can write it down in the chat box. Okay, so this is up to this much for today's session. So thank you very much. Okay, so we will again meet in some another session with a new topic, right? So before that, let me remind you one other thing, that is, please subscribe our channel in YouTube and press on the bell icon, okay, so that you will be able to understand, you will be updated by all the upcoming classes of Swiflearn. Okay, so do like, comment, and share with all your family members and friends so that you will be updated. Okay, and be with Swiflearn. So we will meet in the next class then. So till then, bye bye. Take care.